Last night, Wednesday, we had a major event here on campus, a panel on doing global business. And I would like to share it with you, both the concepts and the specific issues of slide deck production. We had representatives from Dell Computers, Royal Dutch Shell Oil, SpaceX, and Waffle Creek, a local Hayes-based company that manufactures technology for housing overseas. Well, here is the final notice of communication that I sent out. Notice that this was the communication that went out the day of the event. I had communications that went out 2 weeks before the event, the week of the event, and the day of the event, both to faculty to distribute to students and from the dean's office to all students, plus a specially worded campaign for the MBA candidates on campus. Notice that I stressed that President Mason, Fort Hays State's new president, would be there. In fact, she facilitated the event. And notice that I put it into question format to pique interest and bulleted it. The day of the event, across the building, students put up for me "Today" above the specially made poster for the event. So, let me start with how they ended their presentations. One spoke of personal success, another put it in a different way, and the third, aha moments of their career. This is how SpaceX approached ending the slide deck. The term I'd like to focus on is team amplification, because I wasn't familiar with that. What he meant was that in the workplace, working alone doesn't occur that often in his point of view, and that you have to be working in teams to get work done. And this, when do homework, had a few laughs because, well, you know about the issue of homework. And of course, never stop learning and expanding your knowledge, which I think is exemplary of everyone in any course online. Kelly from Dell ended her presentations with success keys. Notice that she was arguing to have multiple disciplines in order to grow and develop in multiple ways. And of course, I think you all know that business is about your reputation and the personal relationships that you're able to build. That we all learn all the time if we want to make an effort. And of course, mentors, people to coach you, are absolutely critical for success. And the last one, accountability, for taking responsibility, and she was arguing you should give back to the community. Here was the Shell speaker's final end, his aha moments. What was interesting to me is this speaker literally never had meetings. He always turned them into active workshops. He also stressed recognition, which I'll speak to in a moment. And of course, deliver on time and in full, on time and in full to meet your promises. Now let's take a look at a bit of a slide analysis. Here was the original slide. Notice that the speaker had this flush to the left. which is how she had it on all her slides. This is if it were centered, which is my preference. But the key thing here is that it has to be standard on your slides. If you have it to the left, keep it to the left. If you have it centered, keep it centered. Now, if you wanted to make revisions, what would be difficult about this? Clearly, whoever created the deck, be it the global vice president or someone who reported to her, they created 3 separate boxes, making it difficult to edit. If on another one, I wanted them flesh to the left, which is my personal preference, it's easy to do here. And it's really up to you which you prefer. So here's the left. Very difficult to edit because of creating it in separate boxes. She used images to bring meaning. Digital transformation, she has a computer. Workforce transformation, she's got, the character sign going up in your career. And for security, she uses a lock. All carry meaning. None of them carry fluff. Now, when I saw that slide go up, what was I worried might happen? Yep, I was afraid she might start to read it. But she didn't. She just picked a couple of numbers and spoke to them in lay people's terms. She did not use IT jargon. Notice her use of color and her very powerful message. 5 important messages, which again she chose to center. Let's look at some more visual images. This was from SpaceX, and he had some rocket blasts off in a blast zone, and which is kind of cool. He had the state of Texas and where this McGregor, Texas is located. This slide had solid advice, which he broke down in, he said, I'll talk about these 3 first, and then I'll talk about these 2. And just as this speaker said, provide recognition, we had recognition here. Look at the email the dean wrote to the international committee for which I chair. Here's the note from President Mason to the Internationalization Committee. And here's the physical recognition that the dean gave the president and each speaker. A little vase with the Kansas sunflower, a card with the College of Education building on the front, all in a nice presentation package, and he had a handwritten card to each panelist. So, here were the best practices I saw in their presentations. You can read them for yourself. This is the one I'd like to point back to. They were listening to each other and in their presentations referred to what the previous speaker had said. a very powerful way to pull it together. Well, what went on behind the scenes? This is a text I received early morning. Actually, it was at noon. So, what did I do? I went to look at the laptop, which was not mine. I borrowed it. I don't have a laptop from work. I have a workstation. So what did I do? I floored it and raced back to the university, and the guy picked out the cord that was his and then told me they didn't need it for Thursday morning. Here was another snafu. A communication went out saying it would be on the day of the event, saying it would be tomorrow. I don't think it caused much because we probably had 350 students packed into the audience room. Now we had a clicker issue. I borrowed this fancy schmancy clicker. Unfortunately, it was so complicated we couldn't figure it out. So we got mine and my wife's clicker, and the battery was dead. So I had to go get batteries to replace it. So a new lesson learned: if you're carrying a clicker, carry some extra batteries. Well, that's my debrief of pulling it all together. I hope you've gained some knowledge about the event and presentation and slide production.